building skills for the TOEFL IBT. Writing. Chapter 1. Thinking and Writing. Skill A. Integrated Writing. Organizing Information. Question 1. Culture. Practice 1. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used.
What is the big deal about Muslim women wearing headscarves in class? The big deal appears to be image. One famous writer who studies Turkish politics says headscarves tarnish the modern image of Turkey. Women in headscarves give the people of Turkey an old-fashioned or uncivilized image. As this writer once said, to be civilized, you have to look like a Western person. And in fact, this is not the first time Turkey has outlawed a fashion to change its image. In the early 20th century, the Turkish government made it illegal for men to wear a fez in public. A fez is the traditional red felt hat worn by Turkish men in the past.
Question 1. History. Practice 2. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used. We now know that the Vikings sailed to North America from Iceland about 500 years before Columbus reached the continent. The question is, did Columbus follow their directions? Some historians assert that Columbus visited Iceland 15 years before he sailed to America. If true, it's likely he heard the people there tell stories about this land to the west. And it is possible that he even saw Viking maps of it. This might have given him the idea to explore that land. But we're not sure if Columbus did reach Iceland. The only evidence is in Columbus's diary. He wrote of a voyage in 1477 to a place that might have been Iceland. Then again, it might not have. Many facts in the diary were accurate, but others were dead wrong. So the mystery remains unsolved. Question 1. Health. Practice 3. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used.
The net is the most amazing invention of our lifetime. It's like having a newspaper, a movie theater, a telephone, a television, a mailbox, an encyclopedia, and a supermarket all rolled into one. It is indeed an incredibly convenient thing to have in your home. But that convenience comes at a price. Now, when I say it comes at a price, most of you probably think of problems or dangers related to the content of the internet. Or maybe you think of health problems like muscle strain or eye strain from staying up all night playing games online. Those are real problems. A more serious problem that I would like to discuss is the social problem of the net. As more and more people get connected online, they disconnect with society. The internet isolates users outside of or away from society. It is now possible for someone to sit at home in front of their computer and shop or chat or even play interactive card games without ever meeting another person face to face. I see this as a real danger. Without face-to-face contact, people can forget that at the other side of their computer screen is a real person with real emotions. Because there is a machine between them, they forget the human behind those messages in the chat window.
Question 1. Astronomy. Practice 4. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used. For over 7 decades now, scientists have been telling us that Pluto is a planet. Now, they say maybe it isn't. It seems they can't make up their minds. Why are some scientists now changing their minds about Pluto's classification as a planet, you ask? Well, they keep detecting objects very similar to Pluto, similar in size. They're all tiny. All those tiny objects are out in the same area of space called the Kuiper belt. So way out at the edge of our solar system are all these other objects in space about the same size and shape as Pluto. But nobody is calling those things planets. In fact, a lot of those things seem to fit our definition of comets. For this reason, maybe Pluto should just be called a comet instead of a planet. And speaking of that, it's not just Pluto's size and shape that makes it look like a comet. Pluto has a tilted orbit, something none of the other planets have. So this strange tilted orbit makes Pluto seem even more like a comet than a planet. Despite all of this new evidence, there are still lots of people who want to keep Pluto as a planet. Skill B. Integrated Writing. Paraphrasing. Question 1. English. Practice 1. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used. American English has become so ubiquitous, that is, widespread, for several reasons. Business and Hollywood are probably the reasons that first come to mind. And those two reasons were basically what drove the spread of English after World War II. But another reason is also important today. Another key factor driving the spread of English today is the Internet. Have you ever done an Internet search in a language other than English? If you have, you know that you're lucky if you get a couple of thousand hits. But if you search in English, it's not uncommon to get millions of hits for any given search. Clearly, there's a lot more English content online than content in other languages. And in fact, the majority of that English content available is in American English. Question 1. Health. Practice 2. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used.
Sunlight can be a medicine, but we have to know how to use it. It can harm us if we're not careful. But sunlight can also keep people from getting many diseases. It's true that sunlight may cause skin cancer. Most of the time, however, people don't actually die from skin cancer. Sunlight can kill germs or bacteria that cause sickness. It can even do this after passing through glass. Illness from germs found within hospitals is the 4th leading cause of death in America. Hospitals with less sunlight have more germs. On the bright side, though, hospitals with more sunlight have fewer germs. People also recover faster in hospitals where there is more sunlight. Maybe we should reconsider our new idea that sunlight is harmful.
Question 1. Science. Practice 3. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used.
Russia was the first country to make nuclear power for everyday use. England, the United States, and many other countries followed. One important reason why some countries were slow to develop nuclear energy is that it's very dangerous. Many people don't think it should be used because of this. Let's look at both sides of the nuclear power question. Nuclear power is very inexpensive to make and doesn't create any air pollution. There's also only a very small amount of waste left after it's made. These are some good reasons for using it. There is one main reason for not using it. The waste is a deadly poison. Accidents can happen while handling this waste. In fact, many people, plants, and animals have already been hurt by it. It costs a great deal to make the building safe when nuclear power is created. The waste has to be buried in a very durable boxes. Nuclear waste will break down and finally become harmless, but not until it has been in the ground for a very long time.
Question 1. Earth Science. Practice 4. Now listen to a lecture related to the topic in Step 1. Fill in the blanks of the note diagram below with the key words or key phrases shown. Not all of the words or phrases will be used. Some people say dinosaurs died out gradually because Earth changed slowly. Others say that a sudden change killed them all at once. Scientists study the very old bones of animals and rocks. They can see that many animals have disappeared. They have also found clues that suggest some dinosaurs were killed suddenly. In some places, there are huge holes called craters where objects from space have hit the Earth. Such impacts could have changed the weather quite suddenly. Using photos of Earth taken from space, scientists have found a huge crater in the ocean near Mexico. If a huge rock from space hit the Earth here, giant clouds of steam and dust probably flew up into the atmosphere. This probably made the Earth a very dark place for a long time. That means any dinosaurs that weren't killed by floods or the explosion after when the Earth was hit were killed by cold weather and lack of food after all the plants died. Chapter 2. Making Writing Complete. Skill A. Integrated Writing. Making Connections. Question 1. Health. Practice 1. Now listen to a lecture and take notes on the important information.
Experts used to say that people had to exercise vigorously for any health benefit, but now many of them are changing their tune. Doctors have found that physical changes occur in the body even with very light exercise. These physical changes are actually healthy changes for the body. For example, one study looked at women who walked. In this study, researchers looked at women who walked a certain distance quickly versus women who walked the same distance slowly. The fast walkers were obviously exercising. The slow walkers were usually just walking with friends and talking. They were basically walking for enjoyment. Surprisingly, the doctors found that the slow walkers actually lost more weight than the fast walkers. The difference seemed to be that slow walkers spent more time walking because they found it stimulating, and that helped them lose more weight. Doctors and health trainers now say you should focus on taking your time while exercising. This means you can exercise longer. The faster you exercise, especially when you're not in good shape to start with, the sooner you'll want to quit. This will also make you want to wait longer before you exercise the next time.
Question 1. Biology. Practice 2. Now listen to a lecture and take notes on the important information. Okay, so we've read about some of the merits of GM, that is, genetically modified foods. Today, we're going to look at the opposite side of the issue. Environmental groups believe GM crops cause problems in farming and that they are unnecessary. So, one problem environmental groups mention is that farming is already too technological. They believe GM crops make farming too scientific for farmers' regular abilities. They argue that there are better and safer ways to make crops resistant to natural enemies and to reduce chemicals in the land, such as bio-natural farming. We'll discuss bio-natural farming in more detail next class. The point the environmentalists are making, though, is that it's not more technology that we need, but more natural ways of farming. Furthermore, environmental groups don't think the higher quantities and better quality achieved by genetically modified foods are necessary. Natural crops look fine and taste better. Also, in their opinion, more products from farms will only provide more food to already rich countries. They don't believe GM foods will feed the third world. They think GM foods will increase the number of goods in richer countries. You know the old saying, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Question 1. Sociology. Practice 3. Now listen to a lecture and take notes on the important information.
You should have read one side of the space exploration debate already, the side in favor of government spending on exploration. Today, we will consider the opposite side. Let's see. To begin, opponents of space exploration contend that we should deal with world problems here on Earth before thinking about space. Why, they ask, should the threat of overpopulation make it necessary to try and colonize other planets? Instead, the rise in world population could be slowed by better handling global issues in agriculture, clean water management, and birth control. They also believe that taxpayers' money would be better invested in trying to solve these issues. Similarly, they believe that more could be invested on developing the Earth's natural resources, as well as on programs to increase recycling and reusing, and to decrease consumption. Now comes the fun part. We'll be discussing which side of the argument you agree with and why. Who'd like to begin?
Question 1. History. Practice 4. Now listen to a lecture and take notes on the important information.
Okay, class. You've read how some believe decay in morals and values led to the fall of Rome. History, however, shows us that the living conditions in cities and too much military spending were bigger reasons for the fall. To begin with, most Romans were poor and life in the cities was terrible. They worked hard and lived in small, crowded apartments. The cost of living was so high that many could not pay their rent. Of course, money was needed to improve life in cities. As things turned out, conditions in cities never improved. Almost all public money went to the military. Naturally, poor Romans became angry and refused to defend the empire. In response, the government began hiring soldiers from foreign countries. As one can guess, the armies became harder to control and even more expensive to keep. More taxes were raised in cities to pay the new troops, and conditions there kept getting worse and worse. Thus, we see Rome had two serious problems affecting daily life and the economy. That is, poor conditions in cities and overspending on armies. These were big issues. Decay in morals and values had, in comparison, no real effect on the fall of Rome.